Welcome to Living Your Senior Life, the podcast that helps you navigate the journey of aging with practical tips, honest conversations, and solutions that actually work. We're Mark and Debbie, and whether you're enjoying your morning coffee, out for a drive, or relaxing at home, we're so glad you're here with us. In today's episode, we're talking about one of the simplest, yet most powerful things you can do for your health: walking. You might be thinking, walking? That's it? But stick with us, because by the end of this episode, you'll understand why this free, accessible activity is considered one of the best exercises for seniors. We'll explore the physical benefits, like supporting your heart, bones, balance, and mobility, along with the mental and emotional benefits that can improve your mood, confidence, sleep, and even your memory. And perhaps most importantly, we'll share practical, realistic strategies for starting a walking routine that truly fits your lifestyle, even if you haven't exercised in years. Whether you're already walking and want to fine-tune your routine, or you're just getting started and don't know where to begin, this episode has something for you. So get comfortable, and let's discover why walking might be one of the best decisions you make for your health this year. As a reminder, the information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always talk with your doctor or healthcare provider before starting any new exercise or wellness routine, especially if you have medical conditions or concerns. With that said, let's get started.
I want you to picture someone. We'll just call her Margaret. She's 68 years old, and about 3 years ago, she was getting some pretty serious warnings from her doctor. High blood pressure, blood sugar numbers that were creeping up toward prediabetes. She just felt tired all the time. So she had a choice. Either commit to some, really complex, intense fitness routine or risk her health issues getting worse. Margaret chose what felt like the easiest option, but it turned out to be the most profound. She just started walking. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, today. All her key health numbers are back in the healthy range. She's lost 25 pounds without even really dieting. And she says she feels more robust than she did a decade ago. That transformation, just built on taking one step after another, that's the power we're diving into today. Our mission in this deep dive is to shortcut you past all the noise and get straight to the core benefits of walking. For older adults, our sources all agree this isn't just an exercise. It's the ultimate, simplest, and most effective strategy for healthy aging. So let's get the core recommendation out there right away. What's the goal?
Most seniors benefit from hitting 30 minutes of moderate intensity activity a day, 5 days a week. That gets you to that recommended 150 minutes weekly. But let's pause right there and define moderate intensity, because that's critical to this whole conversation. The experts define it as, well, you're breathing harder than usual, your heart's beating a bit faster, but you can still talk in full sentences. You wouldn't want to sing.
And that definition is so key. It sets a standard that's challenging enough to actually cause positive change in your body, but it's still achievable. And of course, we have to start with our standard disclaimer. If you have chronic conditions, maybe some balance concerns, or if you just haven't exercised in a while, please check with your healthcare provider first. What's fascinating to me is that while 150 minutes a week might sound a little daunting, focusing on walking makes it so uniquely sustainable for older adults. It just avoids all the major pitfalls that sink most other attempts at starting an exercise routine.
Okay, let's unpack that. Why is walking so much better than, say, joining a high-intensity cycling class or trying to get into weightlifting, especially for this demographic?
It really boils down to friction points. We know that high-impact activities like some types of aerobics or running, they're just too hard on the joints that might already be vulnerable. And weight training, while it's super important, can feel intimidating. You need perfect form, sometimes expensive equipment, and that can feel risky without instruction. A lot of people drop out early. Even something like swimming, which is great. I mean, it's low impact, but you need a pool. And you have to navigate those slippery pool decks, which can be a huge fall risk before you even get in the water.
Right. So walking, by contrast, just kind of naturally checks all the essential boxes for safety and accessibility.
Exactly. It's the perfect checklist. First, it's low impact. It's a fluid, natural movement, gentle on the knees, the hips, the back. Second, it's incredibly accessible. All you really need is a comfortable pair of shoes, and you can start right outside your front door. It's also completely scalable. You can start with 5 minutes and build up over months. And finally, of course, it has the lowest risk profile of pretty much any exercise out there.
So the message is clear. It's about establishing that consistent habit, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, at that pace where you wouldn't want to sing. That's way more important than how fast you're going at the beginning.
Absolutely. Consistency is the foundation. And all these amazing benefits we're about to talk about are built on top of that.
Okay, so let's get into the deep physical dive. The engine of the body, strength and resilience. Where do we start?
You always start with the heart. Walking is this sort of rhythm exercise, and that rhythm trains the heart muscle in a really subtle but powerful way. The consistent movement strengthens the cardiac muscle itself so it can pump more blood with fewer beats. That reduces the strain on the whole system, and it helps your blood vessels relax and widen, which directly lowers blood pressure.
The data on this is just striking. It almost sounds too simple to have such a big effect.
But it is profound. Our sources show that people who walk regularly have a significantly lower risk of heart disease. We're talking a reduction of around 1/3 compared to very inactive adults.
A third. That's huge.
It is. You're trading 30 minutes of gentle effort for a massive reduction in cardiac risk.
Okay, let's shift to weight management. A big concern as metabolism naturally starts to slow down with age. How does simple walking help with that?
This is more of a long game benefit. It's not a quick fix. Now, a brisk 30-minute walk does burn a respectable 150 to 200 calories, but the real benefit is about your muscles. Regular walking helps you maintain your muscle mass, especially in your legs and core, and muscle tissue is metabolically active. It burns calories even when you're resting.
So by keeping that muscle, you're essentially keeping your metabolism from dropping off a cliff.
Exactly. You keep your engine idling higher, making long-term weight control much more sustainable. The stats back this up. Walking 30 minutes a day can reduce obesity risk by like 13 to 25%.
And I imagine that ties directly into concerns around type 2 diabetes, which is a huge issue.
Correct. Walking is powerful protection here because it directly improves insulin sensitivity. When you use your muscles, they become much more responsive to the insulin your body makes. I mean, they get better at pulling glucose out of your bloodstream for energy, which is the whole game when it comes to controlling blood sugar.
And there's a very practical tip in the sources about timing your walks for blood sugar.
Yes, this is a great one. While any walking helps, walking for just 10 or 15 minutes right after a meal is hugely beneficial. After you eat, your blood sugar spikes, and that movement acts like a sponge, just soaking up that extra glucose.
So you blunt the spike.
You blunt the spike. And overall, walking 30 minutes a day can lower your risk of developing type 2 diabetes by around 20%.
Okay, so we've covered the heart, blood sugar, metabolism. Now, what about the actual frame of the body? Skeletal health. This is where I think a lot of people get skeptical. If you have brittle bones or painful joints, doesn't walking just make it worse?
That is the number one misconception. It's so important to understand the difference between high impact, like jumping, and the weight-bearing force of walking. Walking is weight-bearing. Gravity is gently pushing down on your skeleton. And that low, consistent stress is exactly what bone tissue needs to stay strong. It's a signal.
A signal for what?
It signals these special cells, osteoblasts, to start building new bone tissue. It slows down bone loss, which is so critical, especially for postmenopausal women, and it improves density right where you need it, hips, legs, and spine.
Okay, so that's the bones. But what about arthritis, where the joints themselves are actually inflamed and painful? How can moving them possibly help?
I know it seems counterintuitive, but movement truly is medicine for joints. Inside your joints, you have this protective liquid called synovial fluid.
Right.
When you're still, that fluid gets stagnant. Walking acts like a little pump, circulating that fluid, which nourishes the cartilage and reduces stiffness. Plus, you're strengthening the muscles around the joint, which gives it more support and takes stress off the joint itself.
So the key is just starting gently and maybe choosing a softer surface to walk on.
Precisely. Gentle, consistent movement.
Okay, one last physical point before we move to the brain. The immune system. Why do regular walkers seem to get fewer colds?
It all comes back to circulation. Moderate activity makes your circulatory system more efficient. Better blood flow means your immune cells can travel around your body more quickly to find and fight off bugs. It keeps your immune system mobilized and ready.
That is just a staggering list of physical benefits. But, going back to Margaret, she said the mental clarity and the mood lift were the biggest changes for her. So how does moving your legs fundamentally change the chemistry in your brain?
The mental advantages are, for many people, the best reason to start. Let's start with mood. We always hear about endorphins, but their power is real.
But how potent is that, really? Is it just a temporary feeling?
Oh, it's much more than temporary. Endorphins are your body's natural opioid-like chemicals. They're pain relievers and mood elevators. And studies consistently show that regular walking can be just as effective as some treatments for mild to moderate depression.
So you're basically using your body's own pharmacy.
You're harnessing your body's own pharmacy to manage stress and emotional tension.
Exactly.
And that emotional space walking creates must contribute to better sleep, which is a major issue for so many.
A huge one. And walking has a dual impact here. First, the physical exertion, and then the cool down period afterward. That temperature drop signals your body it's time to rest, which can increase melatonin production. And second, if you can walk in the morning, that exposure to natural light helps regulate your circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock. It reinforces the awake signal during the day, which makes the sleep signal stronger at night.
What about cognition? We hear a lot about exercise being an investment in your future brain health. Does walking actually strengthen the brain? Absolutely. The main mechanism is blood flow, but this time directed to your brain. Walking increases cerebral blood flow, more oxygen, more nutrients going straight to your brain cells. This boosts concentration, enhances creativity, and there's a lot of growing evidence that it can help reduce the risk of cognitive decline and dementia.
And beyond all the clinical stuff, there's just the simple human need for peace and connection.
And that's often the glue that makes the habit stick. Walking gives you that essential me time. It's a break from screens, from worries, but it also fights isolation, walking with a friend, joining a group. It weaves you back into your community, and that's a powerful health multiplier.
So we've covered the why in incredible detail. Now we have to focus on the how, creating a safe, sustainable routine. Because like we said, doing too much too soon is the fastest way to quit.
The mantra has to be start small. If you're currently inactive, just commit to 5 or 10-minute walks on a flat surface, maybe only 2 or 3 days a week to start. A little muscle soreness is normal, but sharp pain is a signal to slow down. Listen to your body.
Let's talk gear. The sources all pointed to one piece of equipment as the most important investment.
The shoes. It's all about the shoes. They have to be comfortable, they need good arch support, and enough cushioning to absorb shock. And here's a crucial detail. You have to replace them every 300 to 500 miles. The cushioning breaks down even if they still look okay.
That's a great tip. What about other accessories?
Walking poles or sticks are fantastic, especially if balance is a concern. They give you more stability. And of course, sun protection is non-negotiable. Hat, sunscreen, the works.
Okay, let's run through a quick safety checklist. Before, during, and after a walk, what's the protocol?
Before you even start, warm up. Just walk slowly for 5 minutes. Tell someone where you're going and when you expect to be back. Carry some form of ID. During the walk, stay aware of your surroundings, watch for uneven surfaces, and most importantly, if you feel dizzy, have chest pain, or severe shortness of breath, stop immediately.
And after?
A 5-minute cool down, just walking slowly again. Then some gentle stretching, especially for your calves and hamstrings. And hydrate. Drink some water.
Okay, let's finish by tackling the real-world barriers, the excuses we are making. Let's start with the classic, I just don't have time.
The solution is to be flexible. You don't need one solid 30-minute block. Break it up, 3 10-minute chunks. Walk while you're on a phone call. Take a 10-minute stroll after lunch. It all adds up.
What about bad weather? It's too hot, it's raining, it's icy.
Then you move it indoors. Walk at a local mall. A lot of them have dedicated mall walkers. Or a community center. You can even just march in place at home. The point is movement, not the location.
Okay, a big one for a lot of people. I get bored.
Boredom means you're treating it like a chore. So make it entertainment. Listen to a great podcast, an audiobook, vary your route. Or, my favorite, turn it into a social activity. Meet a friend. That's the best way to beat boredom.
This one is so important for our audience. My joints hurt. We said walking helps arthritis, but what do you do when the pain is there right now?
You adjust the variables. First, slow down. If it still hurts, change your surface. Concrete is hard on joints. Try to find a path with grass or a dirt track. Reduce the time if you have to. The goal is pain-free movement. Listen to your body and ease up.
And finally, a very real fear that keeps people inside. I'm afraid of falling.
That is a valid fear, and it's why we emphasize things like walking poles. They give you 2 extra points of contact. They make a huge difference in stability. Stick to well-maintained paths that you know, and if you can, walk with a companion. There's real safety in numbers.
This has been such a deep dive into what we can really truly call a miracle exercise. It costs nothing and it delivers these incredible sustainable results for both physical and mental health. And I think the core takeaway, the idea that holds all of this together, is consistency over speed.
Oh.
It is so much better for your heart, your bones, your mind to walk for 15 minutes most days than to push for an hour once and then be out of commission for a week.
Absolutely. We've connected the dots from Margaret's simple choice to the actual molecular changes happening in your body. But Margaret didn't start with a marathon. She started with a 10-minute stroll around the block. We've unpacked the why and the how, so the only question left for you is, what's the one small step you can commit to today to start this journey? The path is waiting right outside your door.
Think back to Margaret's story from the beginning of the episode. She didn't transform her health overnight. She started with just 10 minutes around the block and slowly built from there. 3 years later, she's healthier, more confident, and feeling better than she has in years, and that progress began with one small step. If you'd like a little extra support as you get started, visit livingyourseniorlife.com and download our free 30-day walking challenge for seniors. You'll find a simple tracking system to help you build the habit, along with our walking safety checklist to help you stay safe and comfortable on every walk. You can find the direct link in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to the podcast or share it with a friend or family member who might benefit from it. And as always, until next time, take care of yourself, stay active, and continue living your best senior life.